Hello, my name is Morgan Anderson, and this is my project I did. Um, so it is called Whiskers and Tails. I have my script pulled up. I thought a good place to start is running through just kind of the basic stuff I have here. This is a visual novel, and it's built in the RimPy engine using Python, and then the, the kind of mix of language that the RimPy engine uses. Um, okay, so right off the bat here, I guess I can go ahead and talk about something that I ran into a problem with, and it was right here. So the way you usually do, well, not that part. The way you usually do this part is, okay, let me give you an example. It'd usually be something like you'd have this pause, and you have a pause too, and then like you'd still have the scene blank, pause, pause. The second pause is usually like a dissolve one. Did not work for me. I went and I found where someone else kind of talked about doing it, and they had the same problem. I tried to do a little error fix thing where you throw some text up that doesn't automatically pause. And so I did that. It was definitely working, but it just did not want to just automatic play it. So what I ended up doing is I threw in this little thing right here, and this fixed it for me. So it adds a little like splash screen before you start it. I'll go ahead and show that. I thought it was kind of neat. So I didn't have that before. So that was something I thought that was neat. Um, so right here, just in our normal code, I have a lot of just the structure of the language and everything. I also ended up downloading an extension, which I used to have an extension for my spelling. I don't know what happened. I really don't know, but I had to re-download it. And then I had a little note for myself there whenever I had just started doing some of the choices, but I've made several branches. The first beginning branch I don't think has anything. I don't think it does. So, but I kind of made it where your good choice and your bad choice is harder to get, and you're more likely to get a neutral ending. That way, it's more intentional. Which let me see where you can see the logic. Here's the logic for that I put there. So, and I tweaked the logic a few times. I kind of would run through the game and see if it made sense to me. And so you basically have to get all bad or all good um to try and get those. So, very intentional, which makes a lot of sense to me. I have several mechanics, like you can kind of tell. So you got your bond meter, you have your good, bad, and neutral, because there's always going to be neutral choices, bad choices, and good choices, and it kind of factors in all of that to decide what you end up getting. Um, and I'm sure there's a different way I could have went about that, but I liked it. I think making it a little bit more complex just kind of helped add some challenge in there, so I'm not really upset about it. Um, I've talked about this before, but I have added things here. It's kind of been a while to where I don't really remember what all I've messed with in here, but I know one of these, it might be screens. Let's see. No, it's not. Maybe it's options. It is. So I figured out you could do this where whenever you open your game, if you go to like preferences, options, I think it's named options in mine, you can see where I credited myself and I credited other people just to have it in there. So I thought that was kind of neat. So yeah, and then I have some things in my files here. Um, I have so many different files open. I'm just gonna open one of them. I guess it doesn't really matter. Because if I go into my game file, I can go into my images. Have quite a few in here. Um, not my images. It's in my GUI. Yeah, if I go into my GUI, I made like a little icon thing that's in the top left. I actually didn't draw this. I just made it in Canva. Usually I draw things, but I was just trying to put something in there for a little placeholder, and I just never really went back and changed it, but I don't really mind it. It's supposed to be like the little rat mouse tail, and then you have the little cat. So that was kind of my whole idea with that. And then also here I added main menu music. Oh, another really cool thing I did, totally forgot about this. So most of this stuff were WAV files, and I actually ended up getting this one app, Audacity. I've used it before, a really long time ago, ended up getting it again, and I just converted them to MP3s because for whatever reason, RenPy is kind of picky about the WAV files, and the easiest way to fix that would just be converting it. So I just threw them in a converter if they were WAV. Um, so it's pretty easy there as far as fixing that. And most of my problems I ran into, they really weren't that hard to fix, especially because there was so much documentation and then really big um community centered around the RenPy engine, which helped a lot. So how I ended up tackling this project just from the beginning. So, and this is also a little bit critique about how we do it next time because I don't think I was the biggest fan of how I went about it. But I started kind of in my screens options in GUI. Um, I know I changed some things with the GUI, but I made my menu screen for my game first that had the start, you, the, the start options and all that because your original one, I'm just gonna pull up this beta test that it just gives you to start out with, and I think it'll have it. I hope it has it at least. Okay, this is how it starts off. Like, if you do nothing to it, this is what it looks like. And so I changed a lot of mine. I got rid of the borders and I just restructured it to be in the middle. And I feel like I probably could have done a little bit more with the starting screen, but I mean, considering how much like drawing I had to do, I was just trying to get something out there that I liked. I am happy I started out with that because it's would have been one of those things if I had to go back and do it, I think it would have been overwhelming just because it would have been just an extra thing that I had to add that I could have had knocked out really early on and made it really easy for myself. So I am happy I did that. I went into I mean, I just went into here and I changed a lot of things. Not really huge things, but I did. I know I changed this, and this makes the default, like how fast it types out itself. And you can change it like in the actual game. It's not a set in stone thing, just with the engine and stuff. Um, I know I got fonts and stuff. I did like a little font thing. I'm not sure where the files are so long that it's kind of hard to remember exactly what all I changed. I know I spoke a little bit more about it on my last video I did, but a lot of it is like just inside your V boxes and stuff and finding stuff there and tweaking it. And there's a few things I tweaked, like whenever I was having the tearing with the menu and the options menu, like just bleeding together, and that one was a pain. It was an easy fix, but it was a pain to fix when you didn't know how to fix it. But once I got there, I was good, and that was really nice. And then after I did this, I worked a little bit on more of my, well, I started out with my concept art with my menu. Um, so I had a lot of my concept art, and I kind of worked on that, and then I went really heavy focus on starting my script. And then once I did that, I really focused on my script, and I really realized if I have my script first, the art stuff like just comes kind of natural with it. Um, because at first I structured myself to do all my art first, but it kind of made it confusing for me. So I kind of liked the structure of having my um my script wrote out first because it gave me a little bit more way to go. Another thing I learned was in my drawing app thing, if I duplicated images, I could take some of my pre-made like shaded and all of that characters. I could take that, duplicate them, and reuse some of the poses or change them up, which made that a lot easier once I figured that out. And once I did that, it was pretty much I was pretty much on a roll. Like it was pretty good once I figured that out. But I probably would have structured it different, mostly just to do with the drawing with the scripting. And I think I probably would have had time to fix some of the other little aesthetic things I was talking about if I would have structured it that way. So that would be my input there. Um, with my results and everything, I'm pretty happy with my results. I feel like it's pretty good. I do think there were some limitations with how in depth I could get. Because if I wasn't doing all the art, I think I probably could have got more in depth with some of the other things. Um, I would like to take this knowing like my art, um, my like my project flow and the way I structured it. I would like to take it and add it to another game. I think an organizing game would be really cool. I also think that an organizing game would have been really cool for this project as well, which I didn't really think about it until the last 2 weeks of this project, but I think that would have been a really good way to do a really even split between artwork and programming while still keeping it really simple. And I saw someone do that with a game jam, and I was thinking that would be really cool. So for a while, I thought about taking what I learned from this and taking that to another project like that. But I think I'm gonna do like a little roguelike. I don't think it's gonna be like super in-depth roguelike like what you get with some of the other games, more like game jam type style where it's maybe one level, one character, and kind of an infinite loop and build on it from there. Um, but I would like to take everything I learned and try doing that and see where I can get with that. I've kind of like spitballed some stuff um with some of my character design and stuff, and I think it's improved a lot. One of the really cool things that this project taught me was that making a game, even though it's really hard, it's a kind of a lot easier than what I thought about once I learned about the way that I would structure my project and everything and my workflow. I would like to try something a little bit more complicated, and I probably will on my free time. I already plan on it. But I think I definitely learned a lot from this. And even as I was working through it, I learned a lot. I feel like with Python, just in a different area, along with not only learning just like the more technical stuff with the programming, but the design stuff, which I thought was really interesting because I've always really liked design stuff. So I feel like it really challenged me in like several areas, not only just one area. And so I thought that was something really neat about this project. So basically, just to sum it all up, I think I learned quite a bit. I think I'm going to be able to take a lot of the stuff I learned and translate it into future projects for myself, whether it's game design or just any any sort of just programming project on learning how to um, find resources and documentation for whenever I run into problems and just a lot of problem solving things that can just translate into other projects. So, yeah, to wrap it up, I mean, that's my project. There's not much more to say about it. I feel like I did a lot, but I don't feel like I have a lot to say about it. So I'm probably going to end this here.